Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ollie Lewis. Hit that applause button.
Yes, definitely.
Welcome.
Welcome, bro.
Anyway, so the first time I met Ollie Twist, now I know him as Ollie Twist, and I always will,
Right.
because the first time I met him, he was spinning wax. He was getting ready for either you had a set coming up, or you were trying to get a set, or you were going to go bust one at your campsite, but you had a backpack full of beef jerky. It was definitely one of the Jibber Jazz events.
Yeah, for sure. It was Jibber Jazz. I met you once at Jibber Jazz, and then I actually had seen you at the Lidditz Fire and Ice festival.
You bought that.
That's actually where I picked up right here.
That, yeah.
Holy cow, that's sick.
That's at least 6 years old. I can't believe it's still got color.
Favorite hoodie ever to date. I'm never getting rid of it.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was like, what's up? Like, oh, this is cool. I think I was like, do you do Jibber Jazz? He was like, yeah, Jibber Jazz. And then it was like, we were like, yeah, Jibber Jazz. So, went on from there. And then seen you plenty of wonderful late nights after the shows. I always would run into you. I mean, it's like all of us. We get locked at your stand and getting some crazy philosophical, interdimensional conversation, and then move on to the next one. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely.
I miss you for sure. Yeah.
So much, dude. So much. I miss those.
You got stuck in the T hole.
Yeah, I put more than one dude in a T hole at about 3 a.m. But yeah, no. Ollie came up to me with a backpack full of beef jerky.
Yeah.
Turn your volume down on your computer for me a little bit, Ollie. He came up to me with a backpack full of beef jerky. Perfect. And he was slinging these like Kryvac bags of beef. I thought from a distance that he was slinging weight, and I'm like, my boy's slinging weight right in the middle of the shakedown here. Like, and I went over and I was like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing in front of my booth? And he was like, you like beef jerky? And I'm like, I love beef jerky.
Right.
So he handed me a piece of beef jerky, and as I'm gnawing on it, like overseeing what's going on in front of my property, I'm like, wait a minute. This dude's slinging beef jerky for real. So I immediately run next door to my partner Sean's booth, and I'm like, Sean, you got to come out here. This guy's got this heady ass beef jerky. So we ended up buying, I want to say, we bought some bulk. Like,
really?
I want to
like
say
pounds, like 5 pounds of beef.
No. We probably got 1.5 pounds. I want to say we walked away with 8.
Yeah.
I had an 8-pack when I
Wow.
finished.
So how much beef jerky could you sling in like a couple hours? Like,
well, and he was trade
time.
ready. He was trade ready too.
Okay.
It wasn't just a cash outlay. It was well done, man. It was some of the best lot game ever.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so the world.
Yeah, no, it was butter for many a summer, and I still have
our
a
live
lot of the
ended.
beef jerky left.
Huh?
Our live
beef
ended.
jerky operation's kind of on hold right now. We were looking at selling
Hold up.
Dehydrator.
Switches over to main. Hold up a minute. Looks like our live feed ended.
And I'm back on the Facebook. Say, how do I get back to the video feed?
Oh wait, no, we're still on.
All right, cool.
Here we go. There it is. I got you. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it was always my thing too, and it still hasn't happened. And honestly, like all things considered, I have no excuse. But I wanted to do cannabinoid infused beef jerky, and there's still about like 40 pounds of beef jerky left. I should probably make that happen.
You should make that happen. You should make that happen. You should send some to Frogtown and let us nibble on that shit while we do interviews.
Definitely, dude.
So
yes,
No, I want you to get started with the questions. I've
Yeah.
occupied enough. Me and my homie talking to each other. I forgot we were live for a minute.
Well, I just want to talk about the website that you run. It's called Lancaster County Cannabis, and you have CBD products on there only. It's really cool though because I was looking at some of your products.
For now,
You said for now?
for now, yeah. As soon as the laws end, but we're trying to stay ahead of it.
Right.
So, and CBD is a wonderful thing. They say the two are never going to mix, but I only see deregulation coming, and maybe I'll I hope I'm not wrong, but I think within 5 years, we're going to be one of the green states, and it's going to be free for all.
I think that the growth in botanical research around all forms of cannabis, whether it's rudialis or sativa or any or ruderalis, the autoflowers is rudialis, right? Anyway,
to understand this, yeah.
But I know there's development right now for CBD based rudialis plants that are putting up numbers like 6.5% CBD. Like, the fact that somebody's taken time to make this happen tells me. Go ahead.
Indeed. So we've had 2 crops of autoflower this year. We're about to harvest our second one, and it's my first run with autoflower. I mean, and this is the thing coming into it. I'll freely admit that I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh yeah, I've been growing cannabis for decades and now I'm coming in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fairly new to the actual growing game. I've done some basement growing, and I was involved in some stuff up in the Catskill Mountains of New York where I got to kind of help out.
We all were.
Yeah.
Right. But that's why I'm much more on the marketing side. Like, all the cannabis for my company right now is being grown by Amish farmers, and they do what they do best. They grow it. You know what I mean? I give a certain amount of kind of consultation and direction, you know what I mean, and make sure that they have their understanding of the cannabis plant down. But for the most part, they grow real good everything. So they just kind of do what they do best. We supply the varieties and all that. And we just had our 2 autoflower crops. And I was honestly pleasantly surprised. I did not have a lot of faith in it when I was just, reading about it, trying to understand, what it was. They were saying that you'd be lucky to get 5% CBD. We had just topped one with 15% total cannabinoids, and that would have made it right. Yeah, and that was like final cured flower, and that would have made it I think it was like 8% total CBD is what it was.
Holy cow.
And if anybody,
it was and that's what we're finding is last year we had some of these strains that were popping 27% total cannabinoids, and that's great, but you get that one very specific time of year from one very specific harvest, and it's cool to have this ability to get multiple harvests early in the year with this autoflower. It's a good thing. I think it's a processor's dream, and I think that we're finding that some people, and they're starting to see this in the dispensaries too. That cannabinoid count is not only is it not the end all be all, but it really is only just one small fraction in the equation of what makes it all work. So if you can get a real nice fresh autoflower. And truthfully, I can't speak on it. I haven't used any of the autoflower yet. We're about 2 weeks from the perfect cure, so I'm waiting until it's there, and we'll see the proof is in the pudding. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well,
so good.
I think it's awesome personally that now my own experiences in life is any time that I've medically used CBD independently, I've had a level of effect.
Oh yeah, definitely.
the level, not, but I've had a recognizable level.
Yeah.
If I've used THC medicinally in a situation where I need it, I have a level of effect, not the level of effect. But if I use them both,
yes,
dude, it's like the difference. It's totally like the difference between coffee and a cigarette, or just coffee. You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly the I mean, I hate to use those terrible things as examples, but
it's true. I mean, I
got it right here. A bacon sandwich is better with mayonnaise. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but I personally have found, so now we as a culture have designed some plants, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we've designed some plants and some growing habits based around laws, not based around effects. So I think that the perfect strain, look at the big head nod. I knew. So I think the perfect strain has yet to be released. It has yet to be developed. I think that we're going to find, when somebody goes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want you more than me.
They're getting there. Like, our flagship crop this year is called Goliath, and we got linked up with a couple companies. I mean, the network is all around the world. We're working with people out in Washington, who are working with people in Spain. And we have this genetic that is supposedly able to get to over 30% cannabinoids, it's going to be, it'll be pushing about that 30% cannabinoids, but it's a 36-to-1 cannabinoid to THC ratio. So it's going to be super compliant in the sense of, being in the, you can label it hemp, you can sell it on the CBD market. But what's unique about it is, it's dominantly CBD, but only barely. And the minor cannabinoid count profile is like an equal distribution of all the other minor cannabinoids, CBG, CBN, CBC. So it's going to be one of those, more well-rounded cannabinoid count and terpene profile. And the terpene profile is supposed to be, supposedly, according to the paperwork, can get up to 10%. And I mean, that's unheard of in even, medicinal flower. Yeah. And as they're really looking more into terpenes, they're seeing that's what really matters as far as like defining, like you were talking about, effects.
Sure.
So yeah, that's from my standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful reasons to deregulate, and a lot of awesome things that'll happen. From my standpoint, I think the best thing about it is just that the research and the ability to start really playing with these things.
Right.
And bringing really the best out of the cannabis plant. Because you're right, I think the THC market was pretty much designed on a demand, and the demand was essentially a black market drug demand.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't, as it didn't have the same effects or cause the same repercussions as some of the other black market drugs, but that was what it was being produced and marketed for. So you're right, people were very focused on just getting that one. There wasn't a lot of room to research, and it's very exciting. Particularly as recent events have, I see a lot of deregulation. I think it's going to happen quicker than we think. I'm hearing talk of November. So
really,
I feel like in an election year, we're definitely going to see a move. I think it would be silly not to.
Right.
I think that.
Now, are you talking about federal or like state?
I say federal.
Federal.
I say you're going to see it.
What I heard from people who know some people in Harrisburg, was it could very well just go fully, decriminalize all forms this November. I mean, there's a lot of reasons here.
Well, the one thing that I can say that in my lifetime, 5 years ago / 10 years ago, the progression of what I've seen advertised, pushed, and or related to cannabis culture or cannabis legality has changed so much. 10 years ago, when it came up, we heard about epileptics, and it was just shoved in our face all the time, like, this is helping epileptics. It's like we found our favorite Hershey Kiss and we held it up for everybody to see, and we forgot about all the rest of the good
epileptics
candy.
And PTSD.
Right. So now 5 years ago it was childhood seizures, and they started doing a real heavy target on the under 13, what the benefits were for children.
And recently it's been the drug users.
Right.
They're pushing it to rehabs, because now you can. I don't think like 10 years ago you could go to rehab, come out and be on a marijuana maintenance program.
Absolutely not.
The first day you come out,
when I went into Narcotics Anonymous rooms 20 years ago, literally December 5th will be 20 years.
Hell yeah.
So when I went into the rooms Narcotics Anonymous, if I had said that I find it advantageous to me in my own recovery to monitor and maintain my depressive anxiety compulsions with something like cannabis or CBD, which I used in the beginning when before there was THC. Legal THC. I personally found that I found a comfort and something that was giving me the hand mouth satisfaction of smoking cigarettes and like all of those things. There was a million things, but it's difficult to explain to anybody that has it set. And boomers, I'm right on the cusp there, man. Boomers, there's still boomers out there today, right now, who feel like,
it's the devil's lettuce.
Bag of marijuana and a bindle of heroin are the same thing.
That reefer madness mindset.
So that is a generational change.
Experience to the understanding, you know what I mean, and a lot of people in their generation are still pretty turned off by it, but I do think that it's changing quick, especially as the dispensaries open up and people are getting, you know what I mean, like you said, more wide variety of treatments, and and I could rant for a good long while about the dispensary system and
that's another show. That's another show. That's another show.
So, but I do want to ask kind of like a fun question. What is the largest flower harvest you've ever had?
Yeah, what have you held in your hands?
So again, I'm not going to pretend to be a farmer. You know what I mean? There are a network of farms that I manage and that I help manage, and that we do the majority of the marketing and the selling. You know what I mean, and the distribution, and also just kind of like the managing of the crop, taking it from the field through processing back, into raw product, into final product.
Sure.
Right.
There's only been it's only been 3 years that hemp's been going like this. Only 2 years that it's been going on like industrial. Not in a test pilot research program where you had to pay an obnoxious amount of money to get the permit.
Yes. What was it, like $500,000?
That for the very first year, and then I think by the time it was in the third year of the research phase, it was like down to like $3,000 or maybe $6,000, and
more
now it's $150 to get a hemp permit.
Really?
Wow. They've made it very accessible, very, very accessible. Wow. And coming soon, when they get there, cannabis. Commercial cannabis is also going to be the same way. They're going to have micro grow permits where you can have like 250 to, all of this is still being kind of hashed out. There is a bill that is out that has a proposed way of doing it. But plants, and they're called micro grows. So it would be kind of just going like a micro beer distributor, that type of mindset. So I'm going to get to answering your question here, but last year, I saw some things that made me want to cry in Lancaster County, because there were people that just jumped right in, and Yeah, and it's not both Amish and English. It wasn't it was farmers in Lancaster County in general.
Right.
Put out way too much hemp without any type of real plan or strategy of where it was going to be going, what the output was, where it was going to be processed. Maybe the plannings that they had were not properly thought out.
It was quantity over quality.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
That was a big one. And some guys put out 100 acres and lost half of it because it wasn't even harvested in time. The other half of what was left, the mold and improper drying and whatnot. And the main part of it was just because nobody really had any idea. The state really didn't put any guidelines, and it's not like it was their responsibility to. But a lot of people just went way too big, way too fast.
Yeah.
And certainly I think probably the biggest problem in this amounted to a lot of more third dimensional manifestations and challenges, but it's that they didn't understand cannabis. They didn't understand the plant that they were growing. They didn't understand that it's not like it's a cash crop. They understood that it might be a special cash crop.
Right.
They didn't understand it like a lot of I don't mean to say us, but like a lot of us do that. Like
right.
it's a very, very special plant.
Right. We have a different mindset. It doesn't really come to, this is a money-making plant, which
Nope.
I feel like a lot of people saw the demand that cannabis has, and their eyes just flashed up like Mr. Krabs, and they saw the money. They were like, let's go. And they didn't know how to take care of that many plants, and they didn't know how to grow it. And so what you're doing is you're bringing the art back to it. You're going to Amish people who are known, notorious for their gardens. I often said that I would take like a 6-month sabbatical in the summer, live with the Amish just to learn how to plant, build some houses, But
it's been a real trip. It's been a real trip, and it's certainly not always been easy. You know what I mean? It's I have a lot of respect for that people. They work hard. You know what I mean? They work real
they
hard.
definitely do.
And it's I think that in some ways hemp particularly, it's not like any other crop in the sense of the commodity that it is, but like we know that there's a certain element of cannabis brings people together. Like it's easy
right.
for us to say that and to be like we know something special about this crop, that what cannabis does. The community, what mind, and just the overall mindset. So it's interesting because I do see it, and again, it hasn't been an easy bridge, but the hemp and cannabis is certainly building some type of bridge between the English and the Amish that I don't think was necessarily there before on the level that it was. And
that's awesome.
It's scary though, because you can see pretty easily how it's gonna be tried to push the direction that tobacco went. It's gonna be tried to push, it's gonna be tried to take. It's already happening. Monsanto's got these little back-ass rights that are just like.
It's gonna be industrialized, and it's gonna be monetized. There's gonna be. They're gonna open stocks. I mean, there already are stocks in other countries like Canada.
I agree 100% that that's gonna happen.
America already. Sure.
But I'll bet you that just like beer, 35 years ago, there was 17, 18 different beers available to you in the store.
Yeah.
There was some you could buy 30 cases and a keg of. There was some you could only buy a couple quarter kegs of. Those days are gone. There is 1,000 beers available at Valley Green Beverage right around the corner.
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah. And that's in PA.
That's in one store.
Yeah.
That's in one store.
Right.
And I can get like 35 different beers kegged. I can have, now I don't drink, so none of this matters to me.
Right.
However, I got a homie who's like an IPA addict. Like he loves his IPAs. So I told that part to tell this part. there's always going to be the guy that's trying to grow a bud as big as his arm.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that guy. There's always going to be somebody with a 16-foot plant that's yellow as hell halfway up and
got spotted lanterns on
spotted lanterns and faded colas all over it.
Yeah.
That's going to happen, and that guy's still harvesting that thing, and it's still coming down. But that's Budweiser and Light and Miller and
Natural Light.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I see. I mean that's what that is.
Yes.
There's gonna be microbrewers. There's gonna be a guy that when he shows you his harvest, it's not 7 log-sized nugs. It's a handful this big
Right.
of shit that is 900 colors and crystallized and beautiful, and it looks like a painting.
Yeah.
And that's going to be his harvest. You'd be like, look what I got, you know. And that is literally, in my opinion, putting the art back into this. So I think artful growers were only guerrilla growers 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I think the guys on the fields and the cartel growers, those guys were told to make weight, man. It didn't matter what they were growing.
Yeah.
Make
exactly.
weight.
Yeah.
I tell you what, when we started, you know, one of the reasons that my particular, because like the operation is pretty complex and there's a lot of different angles at it, but like on the sales industry, on the retail side of our operation, and like the one of how we were able to do pretty well with stores, getting our final product marketed and getting it to the stores. I mean, marketing is marketing. You know what I mean? You put anything, you know, if you make it look good in the right packaging on the right label, you know what I mean, you can sell it. And we had. It was like an unfortunate situation, but it was kind of also for the county. But it was sort of a fortunate situation for myself and my partners and what we were doing, you know, with the marketing side, because from all that stuff that was grown last year, we kind of had our pick of the cream of the crop. We were able to, you know what I mean, go around all these different farms and be like, okay, there was a lot grown, but this is what we were finding when we were doing the market research. And this was a year ago. We were going around to all these different shops, and everything from head shops to vape shops to bodegas, you know what I mean? And they all had CBD on the shelf, but it was all some straight swag from Texas, Nebraska. Sometimes you get something from Colorado or Cali that looked like a little bit better, but it was like, this is garbage. I can't. And people were paying $35 an eighth for it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It was ridiculous. So I was like, well, man, all this stuff was grown in Lancaster, you know what I mean? And like, we were kind of the first ones out the gate on it. There's definitely a few people who were hot on our trail, and they've definitely caught up. You're seeing some more variety in the shops now, but nothing was from Pennsylvania, you know what I mean? So we went around and selected the best nugs. That was what we put the brand, the trademark Lancaster County Cannabis. You know, that was. You know, we just went out and got the best top nugs of everything that we could find, and started putting them in pretty jars and putting them in on the shelves as local grown Pennsylvania, you know, because that's how it should be. We cut the price in half from what these guys were charging out west, so now the shops were able to have a $20 or a $25 rate of some stuff that was better. You know what I mean? And I'll say
significantly better.
County. Nothing was on point. You wanted to see something that was on point? Go look at Alex Shambo's bud. Go look at some of the hydroponic bud out of
we got one.
What county was it? I'm blanking. It was out in Westchester. There's like a hydroponic CBD, but it looks incredible. You know what I mean? That's the way it's supposed to be. And exactly like you were saying, it's these little craft guys, these little guys that are doing it in 1 or 2 greenhouses, not throwing out hundreds of acres at a time, thinking that it's going to come back as a paycheck. And that was, again, I say this was the vast. I mean, and then. It's, I said it in Lancaster County because that's what I saw. I ended up, as I'm talking to this new Critical 39 hemp thing that we're doing, that's going to be like an app. It's going to be really cool. We can talk about that in just a bit. But they found out that it happened from coast to coast. And as soon as the 2018 Farm Bill Act cleared and everybody realized that hemp was going to be the big hot commodity, all the farmers, there was so much hemp grown from coast to coast last year. It was ridiculous. And at this time in Lancaster County last year, you could drive around and just roll your window down and smell skunk. You know what I mean? It's really not like that this year. There's a fraction of the amount is being grown this year. So
you're right. Even
and yeah, getting back to that original question, like, you know, we've had to take in and do harvests that were no more than 2 acres at a time. Like of plots that we were actually helping manage and bring in and get processed and take to you know, to the final market, you know. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's sick.
I think in my recent experiences, most of the CBD flower that I'm seeing between the plant quality itself and the care and concern to its crafting, like the manicured buds and the jar cures and things like that.
Yeah.
That weed's better than anything I saw when it was black market weed when I was a kid. Way better.
Right.
Like if you had walked into my high school smoking area, and yes, I'm from the time when you could smoke in your school. If you'd walked up to my high school smoking area with a bag of the CBD that you got now, you'd be claiming high dollar. Like you would have had the best thing on the lot.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that Rolling Stone?
There's a lot of that.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's
there's
become very real.
I have shop owners that straight up tell me, you know what I mean, with their guy on our sit, they're like, yeah, we got people coming in and getting this stuff from us, and they're selling it on the street and mixing it with their stuff, you know? So, yeah, I know, it's not ethical, but that's definitely happening, and I kind of laugh about it. What I'm hoping, what I really am hoping is that at the end of it all, there's going to be actually a preference for these more CBD dominant buds.
I think there is. I think there already is with a lot of folks. I really do.
Yeah.
It's more acceptable. It's more socially acceptable. People love to say, "Oh, this is over-the-counter legal." They love to talk about
right,
that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like people 30 to 50 do it like when they're drinking, you know, like they'll roll a CBD joint, like if they're around the campfire with their friends.
Dude, I've seen it happen.
Beers.
I saw somebody crack a jar right out the gas station box. Like literally it was I'm not going to say this brand, but it was the black label that you see in every gas station.
Right.
And they crack it out their pocket and they're like twisting one up. And they're like
right
all excited. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, that's gas station weed. That's literally like a gas station hot dog.
Right.
Like you're standing in a room that literally these guys have filet mignon in their pockets.
Seriously. That's hilarious. Yo, so
we're about to run out of time, so let's give you a chance to plug some stuff, and let's give you a chance to ask some questions. I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, I got one last question for you, brother. What is your favorite strain? I know we already said that there's not a perfect strain out there right now, obviously, but I mean, you have had to have come close to something that just really does it for you, and if you don't mind explaining why it's your favorite strain.
You mean CBD strain or combo?
A combo.
Okay, full spectrum.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. So what's your favorite strain, full spectrum?
Well, all right. Oh man, that's a tough question.
Isn't it? It's a whole lot harder than what do you want on pizza?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too, because now that the dispensaries are open, you know, you go in there and it's kind of like you know, it's like it's not perfect, but we have more selection available to us now than we've ever had before. You know,
right.
Like back in the day, it was, you know, Blue Dream, you know,
Sour D,
Sour
Diesel,
New York Sour D.
Yeah.
So from the dispensary, you know what? I'm pretty pleased with this right here.
Nice.
And like I'm
product placement.
The rain dance.
Yes, nice.
Yeah. On the CBD front, though, I mean that's been fun because I feel like there's more of a difference in the strains. Like with cannabis, I feel like it's, for the most part, it's pretty much you have, your sativas, your indicas, your hybrids, and then you have like more of your heady profile of the terpenes and more of the body of the terpenes.
Right.
Like, maybe it's just that the THC is, so strong anyway. Like, I don't really experience much of a variety between the strains. I mean, I do, but like not as much as I do between the strains of CBD. Like, the different strains of CBD are like very predominantly different. Like when and personally, like I'm super into the concentrates. So with CBD, I'm using the distillate, I'm using the rosin, the cherry wine's kind of been my favorite. I think the cherry, and that's the cherry blossom was a very popular strain. Lifter's also real good. But that's what's kind of fun about the CBD game is like there's going to be a lot more variety coming through the CBD game. You know what I mean?
So are you getting the fragrances off of the CBD rosins that like are they real, pine forward, or are they, like what?
Yeah, all of them overall kind of have this kind of like sarsaparilla taste to them, but they all the terpene profiles definitely come through.
Nice.
And that's the oil to my day. Like I've been preaching it for a few months now. Like I'm on a 4-to-1 CBD to THC equation. By choice, and like especially if I'm working or doing something like that involves my full mental attention,
right.
The CBD is where it's at, and the acid river rock is real good for just kind of like that super smooth, just kind of like gives you both the body and the mental effect that you're looking for. And you can check out all these strains on the website. It's lcpacannabis.com.
Yeah, when we do the recap, we'll put a link. We'll put a link in the
I'll
recap.
I'll put a link to your website in the description. Also, go follow him on Facebook, Oliver Lewis. He has he has all his pictures on there. Like, he has some really cool stuff. He has a lot of concentrates, patches, tinctures.
Anyway, I wanted to have Ollie on today. I want to thank you for being here this morning. We're getting ready to wind it up. I wanted to thank you. It's I was talking.
I'll just be one more quick shout out if I can. So obviously you can get anything that you do on the website. And I'm gonna give it anybody who wants to go on there and get it now. There's a coupon code. If you go 420-1, you'll get 10% off on anything on the website. So anybody who's watching this podcast or gets that,
take full advantage of that.
Definitely go take advantage of that. And we're going to be out at the Nico Fest, the Nissan car show.
Oh, cool.
We have like a big 90 by 90 space, and we're going to be doing kind of like a little pop-up CBD party thing. And there's going to be we're out there with DJ, and DJ is a big that's coming out that's been converted into like a studio. Because I'm still rapping, so we'll be doing some raps and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Heck yeah, dude.
And if you got definitely come out for that. Yeah. And thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, brother.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
for
being here,
Ollie.
It. Anyway, so when I was telling Cody I wanted to have Ollie on yesterday, I said I was telling the story of how we met and so on and so forth, and Cody goes, "Wow, dude, kind of like from beef jerky to buds."
Yeah.
And I was like, I love it. I totally want to call the whole segment from beef jerky to buds.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ollie, it's been great seeing you, bud. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Go ahead and take us over.
Have a good day, brother.
I love it.